it's a good thing that it was 3 seconds left and we was already up 20 points. So we were just freestyling at that point.
So you were LeBron James then?
Everybody's still gonna remember that you blew the layup.
Y'all might see me drop it, but we gonna still do our thing. That's all that matters.
I eat it, but liver high cholesterol. Liver is high cholesterol. High. I'm talking about extreme. I didn't even know it was that high. It's high.
This far enough for you, bro?
Oh, I'm good. I ain't tripping. I'm good.
Go. Harry, this is Hezekiah. This is Harry.
Oh, here's a hill.
Like that name, bro. What up? Peace. Shout, man. What you been up to, shout, man? Hey, you got wings, bro? What's up, my dog? You got wings, bro?
Yeah. Just chilling.
All right, now that everybody left, look, you want to start serving. Everybody had a little, y'all want to pray?
So we done get dynamic duo now.
Yeah.
Everything.
Read, bro.
You gotta remember.
I'm gonna watch it this time. I'm gonna watch it.
No, I'm gonna make sure I write down the first they saw
When Christ died and what day it happened. That's the content of it. But I don't know exactly what's in it yet. Well, one of them is saying Wednesday. One of them is saying Thursday.
Is this something like you said already?
Somewhat. But this is not really for me. This is for somebody else who she knows and they trying to get into it. And so I'm basically reviewing it.
They don't matter. They'll still come here and do it something.
They walk over to the church chick.
Huh?
They be going over to the church chick.
Like trolling.
Walking, just I guess to get food. Hey.
15. $17 with us.
Yeah.
Even though my brother gave and
I see it.
you still talking about that, son? You still think about that, son?
Oh. You ain't see what else, but what else?
I counted him.
But that's 18 then.
How? I counted.
Because they got the young, what's it called?
I forgot about him.
So you don't be paying attention.
I miss some things, but I don't miss everything. Trip me out the other day. Yeah, I think so. He went to the bathroom.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
Man, you had me weak this week. You told me about the little 13-gay thing situation. You had me. I'm telling you, son. I don't know why throughout the week that stuff just hit my mind. Like, wait a minute, did he just tell me that, son? He just be chilling, son.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, he's like, he's tripping now. He's kind of moving out of bounds.
Zell. Oh, camera right there.
Yeah.
The mic.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it later on.
You got a live mic now.
Yeah, I know that's why we.
We'll discuss that matter at a later time. So we gotta be professional.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Not really.
Too many for me.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Y'all ready to open up? All right.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, power, and glory, forever. Amen. Get down to business. Alright. We're gonna start off in Exodus 20. Starting at verse 1. And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that take his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt do no any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is in thy neighbor's.
All right. Today's lessons came about because when you first get in the truth, you hear all kind of different things, and you try to figure out which is the right way to go, because this is something new that you're taught. So today's lesson is titled New Moon, New Month, and Full Moon Festivals. Because they have, say that again?
The title.
Oh, new moon, new month, and full moon festival. Because they have, when you get into the truth, you hear this congregation doing it off the dark moon, this congregation doing it off the full moon, this congregation doing it off the half moon. So, I mean, which one you supposed to go off of? So, being in the truth, I try to go off the one I see when I read. So my first spot I'm going to is Genesis 1, 14 through 19. Genesis 1, 14 through 19. A lot of sleep was lost going through this lesson.
14 through 19, right?
Yeah, Genesis 1.
You said new moon.
New moon, new month, and full moon festival.
All right.
Starting at Genesis 1:14. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. And let them be for lights in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God made two great lights, the greater light to rule the day, and the lesser light to rule the night. He made the stars also, and God set them in the firmament of the heaven to give light upon the earth, and to rule over the day and over the night, and to divide the light from the darkness. And God saw that it was good. In the evening and the morning were the fourth day.
All right, so you see, you made a greater light and a lesser light, and then the evening and the morning was the fourth day. And from what I've seen from getting up and tracking it, the new moon phase is the only phase that rises in the morning and sets at sunset, and then 50 minutes later each day. And then the full moon phase is the only moon that rises in the evening and sets in the morning, 50 minutes each day later and later. All right, so that's what I have for Genesis 1:14 through 19. Now, my next spot is Psalms 81, 1 through 6. Psalms 81, verses 1 through 6. And y'all gonna need to put a marker in Psalms 81.
Psalms 81, starting at 1. Sing aloud unto God our strength, and make a joyful noise unto the God of Jacob. Take a psalm and bring hither the timbrel, the pleasant harp. How you pronounce that? Psaltery. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day. For this was a statute for Israel in the law of the God of Jacob. This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt, where I heard a language that I understood not. I removed his shoulder from the burden, his hands were delivered from the pots.
All right. So we're gonna go to verse 2. Verse 2 gives reference to Exodus 15, 20, and 21. Let's go to Exodus 15, verse 20 through 21. Exodus 15, 20, and 21.
Exodus 15, starting at chapter 20. And Miriam the prophetess, the sister of Aaron, took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. And Miriam answered them, sing ye to the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider have he thrown into the sea.
All right, this right here is giving reference to the 15th day of the first month. It's the day after Passover. All right. Now the next spot we're gonna go to is back in Psalms 81, verse 3. Psalm 81. Oh, I'll wait till y'all get there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Psalms 81:3. Blow up the trumpet in the new moon, in the time appointed on our solemn feast day.
And the time appointed meaning full moon. You can find this in Strong's 3677. That word is Kese, K-E-S-E. Kesa is the name. And the definition is fullness or full moon is festival, the time appointed. Also give reference to Proverbs 7 and 20. Let's go to that. 7 and 20. Proverbs 7 verse 1.
Proverbs 7:20. He have taken a bag of money with him and will come home at the day appointed.
All right, the day appointed right here means full moon. All right, let's go to verse 5 in Psalm 81. Verse 5, Psalm 81.
Psalms 81, chapter 5. Verse 5. This he ordained in Joseph for a testimony when he went out through the land of Egypt, where I heard a language that I understood not.
All right, and this gives reference to Psalms 114 and 1. The chapter title is The God of the Exodus.
What verse that was?
114.
Psalms 114 and 1.
Psalms chapter 114, verse 1. When Israel went out of Egypt, the house of Jacob from a people of strange language.
We're back at Passover. Next spot, where that gives reference to Exodus 13, 3 and 4. Exodus 13, verse 3 and 4. Exodus 13, verse 3 and 4.
Exodus chapter 13, starting at verse 3. And Moses said unto the people, remember this day in which he came out from Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For by strength of hand the Lord brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month of Abib.
All right, beginning of the new year, the 14th day of the year, and the 15th day of the year. And this verse, Exodus 13 and 3 and 4, gives back reference right back to Psalm 81 and 5. All right, so by me reading Psalm 81, 1 through 5, is all about the Passover, God's Exodus, the middle of the month being a full moon on the 14th day of the month. Next spot. Sirach, Ecclesiasticus. My bad, I'll let y'all catch up. Go.
6 and 7.
6, 7. The next spot is Sirach, Ecclesiasticus 43, 6 through 8. It's in your pocket. Oh, 43, verse 6, 7, and 8.
Sirach chapter 43, starting at verse 6. He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
All right. The moon is a sign of feast, a light that gets smaller after it reaches fullness, completion, or perfection. Wanes, whatever. That's verse 7 give references to Exodus 12 and 2. They go to Exodus 12 and 2. Oh, that's over here. Right. 13. Right back at Passover again.
Exodus chapter 12, verse 2. This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you.
All right, you read on, that's Passover. We're back in Passover. All right. Now, verse 8, go back to Ecclesiasticus, verse 8. Ecclesiastes, verse 8. This month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, waxing. Let's see what Strong says to call the new moon. Strong 23 and 20. Strong 23 and 20 for y'all to have it. Anybody out there on their phone? Strong 23 and 20.
It's Chodesh.
Say that again. Chodesh, which means new moon, new month, to repair, to make new. So the word for new month, new moon is Chodesh, and the word for full moon is Kesser. We have two different words for two different phases of the moon. Right. So that's all I have today for this. Anybody have any questions? Come on.
I do. Speaking on Exodus 13, 3 and 4, what would be your response? I know you said that that's the first month of the year, but if a person just coming in, how would they know which month is the first month of the year? They don't know anything about like the Hebrew word of Abib and stuff like that.
Oh, well, now it's called Nissan. They can go to Esther 3 and verse 7. They're going to tell you the first month of the year and the 12th month of the year. Nissan and Adar is the 12th month. That's what I could tell them with that. Would that be answer for you?
Yeah, I guess that's fun. I'm just thinking of a person who don't know nothing about this.
Any questions? Anything to add, take away? So
You mentioned Nissan just now.
yeah.
It's actually a bib. Nissan is Babylonian. I just want to make that clarification because you look it up, that's actually a Babylonian name. It's like when they change names, they change them from a Hebrew name to a different culture's name. Most of the months, when you read them, there's only 4 months that are Hebrew that's listed in the Bible. We're talking about the first month. It's a bit.
And that word Ava? No, not Adar. Well, yeah. Oh, you talking about the 12 month? Yeah.
Adar is also Babylon.
What about that word Ava? A-V? Man, I forgot it. I had it written down, must have been other notes. It's another word they use for the barley. When they cut the barley down, that's when they know it was springtime. Ava, A-V-I. Yeah, that. You never heard of it? Yeah,
I mean, but if that's
they use that for the springtime.
I mean, from what I know, I don't know if we're talking about the names typically of months and stuff, but months because we formulated ourselves moving on the lunar calendar. We have to continually add months to there so that way we can keep it in. Well, more so I'm asking you. I mean, like, did we have to do that, or is that verified? You have to add months in order for to stay upon the lunar calendar because of the days being out of whack. Which is the reason why most people and most civilizations at one point started moving to a solar calendar. Hence the reason of 365 days instead of moving off of like a lunar calendar where you will have I don't even know how many days, but eventually you'll have to continually add months to there to keep the days of the year straight. I think it was
Yeah, I
it
know.
was supposed to be a statement and a
Yeah,
question.
that was a
So
statement. But
my bad.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
was like I was saying like would you like take that into account because I heard y'all talking about like the months being added, right? Or like the name of months. Wasn't that does that account for like the other months that were added as well? Like I think that at one point that was like less than 12 months. Am I right?
I don't know nothing about that, but
Yeah, let me kind of clarify what he's saying. If you follow a lunar calendar, your month will be 29 and a half days, making it basically 29 days one month, 30 days another month. That equals up to be 354 days, which means that in a regular year you have 365 days. So that is a 11-day gap. In other words, okay. So you just do simple math: 365 minus a complete 12 cycle lunar calendar. It leaves you with 11 days left. And so what people used to do to adjust for the additional 11 days that weren't accounted for in the months is they would make or add another month, a 13th month, in other words. This would allow them not to have, because when you do this after like 3 years, your months are already a month off. Like your March will be in April, your April will be in May, right? So what he's basically asking is that, like, do you think that people in biblical times adjusted in that way, right?
I think they just were counting. Like, see, we added the names of all the months. I don't. I didn't see where they had all the names of the months in the Bible. So
Well, you don't mind, I want to answer him first. I just want to.
I know one of the sisters had showed me the 12 months in the year years ago. But
Yeah, so the thing is, right, the Bible does not give you 12 Hebrew names for 12 months.
yeah, I know.
So any names that were added thereafter are names that they either got from Greek or Babylonian captivity. Right? I just want to make that point. To answer your question, if you go to First Kings chapter 4, we know that the children of Israel did not live off of a lunar calendar, because if they did, yeah, First Kings chapter 4. If the children of Israel lived off of a lunar calendar, they would have to do the same thing that the Babylonians did, that the Greeks did, and that any other civilization who lived off of a lunar calendar. Yeah, First Kings chapter 4. Any civilization that lives off of a lunar calendar, they have to do this. Right? They have to add a 13th month.
I know in the book of Enoch, he says it's 91 days per season.
You said chapter 4.
Yeah, I'm gonna read verse 7. I can read for you. Yeah, that's fine. I just want verse 7. Okay. This is First Kings, chapter 4, verse 7. And Solomon had 12 officers over all Israel, which provided victuals for the king and his household. Each man his month in a year made his provision. So when you see this, the point that I want to make is the children of Israel, there's a lot of numerical spiritual significance to things. We have 12 tribes, and those 12 tribes kind of align with the months. And we see that King Solomon, not only did he make the 12 officers, I'm sure that each one was from a different tribe, but it says here that each one had his month, meaning each one had to bring his victuals per month. So, I'm sorry?
What is victuals?
Victuals is basically just like any resources or offerings from the people, kind of like a tax, in other words. But the point is, we know, according to this, prior to exile or any type of heathen influence on the children of Israel, before any of that, was under this time, King David and King Solomon are living righteously before the Most High. And at that particular time, they're keeping a 12-month base calendar, or whatever the case is. Because if they weren't, they would have to have a 13th, which would then make Solomon have to adjust for the officers who are being brought here. Absolutely, but
The 13th month is just to cover the 11th extra day. They create
Correct.
a whole month just for the 11th.
correct. The Babylonians did that. Yes.
Yeah.
But see, this is why I keep, whenever these conversations start coming up, there's a history aspect that is a part of it that if you're not aware of, it's like, well, why are we even bringing this up? The reason why that's the case is because you look at how people keep feast days today, to keep it off of a dark moon most of the time. And one of the principal reasons that is because the children of Israel came up with a systematic approach to keeping feast days like that in Babylon. And it's Babylon where they developed what we know to be the Talmud, and etc., different things that they used, or systems that they used to do things like track feast days and track days and seasons and etc. Right? So that's why you see Nisan, right? If you look up what's the first biblical month, they'll show you Nisan before they show you Abib, even though you can't read Nisan in the Bible, because they learned that in Babylon. Those names that you said that somebody showed you a name of all the months. Most
But
of
that
those
they
names are
had 12
Babylonian.
months in a year.
Right. But the Babylonians did have a 13th month because they lived off of a lunar calendar. So that's where you get the adjustment from.
Even if it's in the Bible, like Hagar, you still think it's Babylon?
No, but see, you have to understand why it's
The
in.
word, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
you have to understand why it's in. It's the linguistics. It doesn't have anything to do with anything else other than the linguistics. It's just like when we talk about the name Jesus versus Joshua. Joshua and Jesus are the same name. Literally, it's the same name. But when you read in First Maccabees, because First Maccabees is in the Apocrypha and was translated from Latin, they translate Joshua to Jesus. His name is Joshua in the Old Testament, though. In the Old Testament, that was translated from Hebrew. So the linguistics necessitates a change in a name. That's it. But when you read that though, that is the same person. They talking about Joshua like in the book of Joshua. But when you read those two verses, one in First Maccabees and another one wherever in the book of Joshua and Deuteronomy, whatever the case may be, you'll see that the same person's name is translated two different ways. And it's only because of the linguistics. Adar,
What is it in Hebrew?
well, I don't know what it is in Hebrew because the Bible doesn't give you names for all 12 months in Hebrew. They only give you the names of 4 months in Hebrew. And that's Abib, that's Ethanim, Bull, and I forgot what the second month is.
And so we can be sure that certain words come out of Babylon.
Okay.
We can be sure that certain words come out of Babylon. Can't be sure what these words are in Hebrew.
No.
Like we said, we got to Babylon and started keeping new moon or dark moon as new moon. What did we do prior to that? We're not privy to that.
Let me tell you, the reason why you're privy to the information about the Babylonian stuff is because it's been preserved over time through the Talmud. That's the reason why you can know that. Otherwise, that wouldn't even be a thing. But because that's where it was done systematically, and then they wrote it out in the Babylonian and the Jerusalem Talmud,
Right.
you can see where many of these things come from.
So
That's
what
why
the
you can be
children
certain.
of Israel did prior to that is not preserved. What they did prior to that, we don't know. We don't know how they kept the moon
No,
prior to Babylon because it's not written.
you can know. It's just it's not mainstream because the people who are basically professing themselves to be the people of God,
Right.
they dictate and have been dictating what is mainstream, and what they dictate is mainstream is the Talmud. So that's why it's when you look it up online, they're gonna give you that. They're not gonna give you some scholar or some historian who found a civilization of Israel prior to exile who was keeping certain customs this way. Like you can find it, but it's like, what does that really mean? Like it's just like a source that's just thrown out there because they don't have the authority of today backing that information.
But they kept the first day of the year from the first day of spring.
Right, but you have to you have to figure out what's the first day of spring.
Yeah.
Right, like we got it easy now.
Very easy now.
But how you know when the first day of spring is?
Then or now.
It's the same way then and now.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
know.
how you know it. Like
Yeah.
you know because you can look on your phone.
Yeah.
Seasons.
But
Based off of how moving crops and stuff are going.
Yeah.
Agriculture.
Able. The barley.
That's gonna be different depending on the climate.
But it don't
Crops
matter.
ain't gonna move the same and
It don't matter about the
it's gonna
climate.
be in the drought.
It don't matter. It don't matter about the climate. The only thing that matters is what it is in Israel. That's the only thing that matters. Because granted, that's true. In Israel, if it's winter, all right, somewhere else it might not be as cold as it is or as hot as it is, and which means that you can't grow certain things because the climate is different. Right? But the only thing that matters is how they were telling time at that point in that time. And that's why you're talking about Ava. They actually did do that. They used three, biblically, you can use three methods of determining when a year starts, and that's, it says that the barley is in the ear. Okay, that was in Exodus. It mentions there's flight patterns of birds and different animal, what you call it, migrations.
Migration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's that. There's constellations and like they had to actually do work. In other words, to figure out when the first of the year is, as opposed to us looking at a calendar now. So
Can I build off of that real quick? I mean, because like if you read the Mishnah, not the Talmud, but the Mishnah that the Talmud is built off of, you'll find not explicitly for the new moon, not explicitly for Passover or something like that, or springtime, but for the new moon, they will actually be observant. And I mean by they'll go outside, they'll send like two representatives to go outside and see when the new moon was. And based off of they'll have those two dudes running out there basically all night until then, and then blow.
That's why I said at the beginning of this, it was a lot of hours I put in.
So when
I
they
lost
go
a
out
lot
there
of
looking
sleep.
for a dark moon or a full moon?
According
That's
to
the discussion.
according to the Mishnah, they would be out there looking for. They wouldn't be out there looking for a dark moon. They'll look for the first light
Sliver.
coming from
Yeah.
the dark moon, the sliver, because of and that's based off the Mishnah. But I'm pretty sure there's other sources out there that say something different. I mean, if you look at where we get the Bible from, there's the Quorum. I think that's the name of their sect. There is a different sect. Qumran. Thank you. There's the Qumran sect where we get most of the Bible from, where we come talking about New Testament, the manuscripts and stuff like that. The Qumran sect of the Israelites, they actually went off of the solar calendar and they kept the full moon. So even during that time, there was differences. But if you look into the historical account of it, you'll see more accounts pointing towards the first crescent rather than the full moon. But I don't really see any information pointing towards the dark moon, which could be out there.
Hey, brother, I got a question.
The Mishnah in the Talmud, some niggas wrote that?
Yeah. So if we're looking at, so it was made by brothers, right? Because the Mishnah, all it is just a oracle.
Yeah.
So you know how Zeph just said that. No, you all good, brother. You know how Zeph just said that the Bible does not have everything. You see how the brothers just said that he had to go outside. I don't know if
Yes.
outside. You can see the red in his eyes. That man was outside all night, right? So basically, that's because the Bible itself does not have everything. And that's the reason why you had the Pharisees and them making sects so they can figure out everything and then tell the people how to do these things. It's just that the Pharisees, they would start putting how it says in Matthew 28, they will put heavy bonds on people without them putting it on themselves. So in order for that to happen, they will have oral rules building off of the Torah or building off of the first 5 books of Moses. So when the Mishnah was created, it was just a dude literally going to Pharisees and asking them to recite these oral Torah laws and then write it down, or like these oral laws that people would follow and just write them down. But the Talmud is, if you look at the Talmud, you can download Sefer and you can see this, is that they take the Mishnah and then they make more arguments on what the Mishnah is saying. That the Talmud takes what the Mishnah is saying, which is built off the Torah, and then add more debates and stuff in there. So for an example, it's like if I
So it's like a commentary?
yeah, it's like a commentary. Thank you. Yeah, so it's like a
So
commentary.
it is a commentary. It's not like
Yeah.
It is a
The
commentary.
Talmud is a commentary.
It's literally just a commentary.
But it's not just
Like
it's
part
not
of
just
it. You don't want it.
when you're saying a commentary, it's not like your Christian pastors who try to make a Bible, right?
Yeah.
When the children of Israel, when we had our own land, we had what they called a Sanhedrin, which is basically a body of men who were like deemed to be in authority in the law. So whenever it's just like in America now, we have judges. We read in Deuteronomy how the Most High made us establish judges and officers. Well, the principal men who would sit on the Sanhedrin, they would hear matters, and when they heard a matter from somebody, they would create laws if something was outside of the jurisdiction of what the Torah says, and then they would make it an establishment moving forward that this is a law for everybody. All right, and so that Sanhedrin, they're the ones who, in essence, come up with what you know to be as the Talmud. But it does have additions today because of the fact that the Caucasian Jews have hijacked it. They do have Caucasian rabbis who have made additions to it since, but its origination or its inception does come from actual Israelites.
In the Caucasian.
There's no such thing as a look. It's a thing that just they keep adding to it. So when you get it, it's like you have the older stuff, and then you have the newer stuff too. And you really have to parse out, what you deem to be as relevant information.
Right. Like just to build off of Zeph, the biggest thing, but before even jumping into the Mishnah or into the Talmud, is that you have to have the foundation of this, because everything is built off of this, right? Understanding the Torah and the law that's there, because all the Mishnah doing is just going like for something like the Sabbath, right? They will have extra additional laws because, okay, let's go into something like working on the Sabbath, but then there'll be different forms of working, and people will have questions about going like, well, does this constitute as working? Does this constitute as working? Are we sure that we can do this on the Sabbath? And then that's basically what the Sanhedrin was for, and what the Mishnah is breaking down and going like, okay, let's make all of these rules that's in relation to the Sabbath of the rule of not working to go even further into what that constitutes as work. That's basically what the Mishnah is doing. It's expounding on the
From man's understanding.
right from man's understanding, from a bunch of dudes getting together, going like, okay, let's try to figure this out.
Let's interpret God.
Yes, I mean, like we technically, when you're reading the scriptures, you are trying to interpret what God is saying, because the guy is not, because the people that was there was not here. So it's the same idea, because we have to do the kind of a similar thing, because we're not during that time. We're not in the land. We're not getting it straight from the tablet. We're not getting it from Moses. So I can see the look of trying to get into the Mishnah to see like, okay, what does these things mean? But the purpose of you getting into the Bible is for you to actually build that foundation first of what's in here. So that way you can be able, because that doesn't mean that everything that was said in the Mishnah is right. Because guess what?
I can tell
Christ-
you everything in the Mishnah is not.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, like it's definitely not. Like
Is everything in the Mishnah Talmud wrong?
I wouldn't say no.
Absolutely not. Can't say it.
Right, exactly.
So
So
if they say crescent or sliver is new moon, we don't know if that's right or wrong.
right, I mean, you'll have
We only
to,
have this to refer to.
yeah. Well,
Is that fair?
it is. It's a fact to say that not everything in the Mishnah is right, nor is it everything is wrong. So when you're sitting there, you will have to build up off of other evidence as well to support whatever you're going off of.
Because it's Babylon, it doesn't necessarily.
Right. Like it was, it's like, as I said in my statement, there is the Mishnah states that it's off of the first crescent. And then other historians state the same thing. However, the people of where we get the Bible from went off of a solar moon, went off of a solar calendar, and they did the full moon.
But
So
technically,
what we-
no, hold on, time out. That's not.
Yeah.
That's not. The Qumran community did go off of a full moon. That's correct.
Just that group.
Right. The people who give us the Bible is a multitude of different.
Oh, okay.
Sects.
No, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, I just need to make sure that's clear. You
Nah, I'm sorry. You was correct about that. So like basically the Qumran sect is the ones that did the full moon. But other sects, because we gotta remember that the Israelites, ever since basically David, Saul, and Solomon, that them boys, our people are always split up and doing different things. So even during that period of time, even when Christ came, and even after, we still were doing different things. And so the Qumran sect was doing the full moon, and I would argue that majority of the others was probably doing the first crescent. But that's off of like my interpretation, what I've been seeing from other historians, and then even from in the second century AD. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you look at Philo, who was living up in Egypt at the time, who was an Israelite, he says that they were doing it according to the first light showing off the moon, was the first crescent. So I move off of mostly off of history and not and also what the Bible states as well. That would be my thoughts.
I'm sorry. You can go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Oh, I don't need a mic like my brother from here. Go back to the Sabbath day about, I want to know about if you're the part of food is preparing it or cooking it, or you don't do any of that on the Sabbath day. Be quiet, because I need to know about my food. So you said, when you saying some of it is true and some of it not, when you're dealing with my food on Saturdays, do we not cook or you have to eat a certain time? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
Can't
same.
heat it up or anything. Is that-
Can you provide her with? Can you provide her with scripture so that she can see that? What you looking for?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. Say that again, Brother Ricky. Say that again. What like paraphrase? That's Exodus 16. That's 16 and 20. Sit down, bro. That's Exodus 16. It's somewhere around the 20th to the.
Exodus 16, verse 22. Can we read that?
Oh, yeah.
16.
Oh, 29.
You can stop that. Exodus chapter 16, starting at verse 22. And it came to pass that on the sixth day they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for one man, and all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moses.
Oh, today was before the 6th day. He told them what to do every day before that. Cook, and then he told them to not keep it until the next day. And some was hard headed and kept it, and it was stinking wrong. It was like wormwood. different. Day 6.
23. He said unto them, this is that which the Lord has said. Tomorrow is the rest of the holy Sabbath unto the Lord. Make that which ye bake today, and seek that ye will seek that which remain overlaid up for you, kept unto the morning. And they laid it up till the morning as Moses bade, and it did not stink, neither was there any worm therein. Moses said, eat that today, for today is the Sabbath unto the Lord. Today ye shall not find any. 6 days ye shall gather it, but on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, in it there shall be none. It came to pass that there went out some of the people on the 7th day for to gather, and they found none. The Lord said unto Moses, how long refuse ye to keep my commandments and my laws? See, for the Lord hath given you the Sabbath, therefore he gives you on the 6th day the bread of 2 days. Abide ye every man in his place, let no man go out of his place on the 7th day. So the people rested on the 7th day.
So 6th day make twice as much. And on the 7th day, you can't go out there and make food. They got a spot where another spot when I did, I was picking up sticks. Did they kill him or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, they killed him. He went out on the Sabbath and
That's
they bapped him.
Numbers 15.
They bapped him.
What's up with dude stick?
Did you want to follow up with that?
That boy might hit me if I.
All right. Now this is about the warm up the food.
She told me I eat the cold cheese at the refrigerator.
Yeah, it's cold, man. That's like
You said
Who said no? It says do not kindle a fire. So this is how I am about the 80% not warming up food on the 7th. 20% he said do not kindle a fire. So if you have something going, you don't have to put it out.
Well, turn these lights on, because this.
Oh, I know about all this. I said 80%.
Electricity's fire.
You can't start your car, you can't light a cell phone, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, don't start the car.
Yeah.
Don't run the water, because hot water heat got fire.
well, this is what I
So everybody walking the Sabbath now.
so this is what I
You can't do nothing if it's everything kindles a fire. Microwave ready. And it ain't fire.
With the electricity itself is
So I've had I think I've asked this a few years ago, but my take on it was similar to the sisters here, or her question rather, about actually cooking on Sabbath and warming food. With my own research, I do know we're not supposed to kindle a fire on Sabbath, which, like you said, to kindle means to start. So that means you have to make the fire. But again, my question I'm asked again from years ago, when our people was in the wilderness and they were experiencing cold weather, snow, whatever, like really cold, on Sabbath, do you think they had a fire or they did not have a fire? They did have a fire. I'm sure they started a fire and they gathered all their wood, just like the scripture you just read. They gathered all their wood and everything the day before Sabbath so that they can have enough to get them through the Sabbath day. Okay, so the same with the food. If I'm so if you're so it's the same with the food to me. If you're preparing the food on that Friday and it's cooked, you cooked it. Then on Sabbath, that doesn't say to me that I can't warm that food because it said cooked. Because the thing is, he's saying don't kindle a fire, and y'all to correct me if I'm wrong. He's saying don't kindle a fire because that's a form of work, correct? Okay, so if my fire is already lit, Friday, if my fire's already lit Friday and through Saturday, I've already gathered my wood and everything's gonna last me like I'm good through Sabbath, and my food is cooked. It's just cold. I don't see that that's me warming it. I'm guessing is what I'm saying is that's not me going against Sabbath because the food has already been prepared. I'm not working. All I'm doing, I could literally have it on a plate because I'm thinking the way my ancestors did. We didn't have microwaves and all of this back then. They had a fire, so I'm assuming everything was done over this fire. So if my fire is already going through Sabbath, and I have my plate of food that I left over from Friday, you saying I can't stick it on this fire to heat it a little bit? I mean, not you. I'm just. This is for everybody to think about.
That's what I say. This is how you do it. Like you look at they like a giant fire. Keep on.
Right.
You light a fire and it will burn for about 3 minutes.
Right. If you gather enough wood.
You light it right, it will burn. So you put fire by the stove, by this you cook by this big fire. You cook by the big fire. And you have your food sitting right there, it can stay warm for a long time. Like you put some smoked turkey. You have a hot and you have a cold. I mean a hot and you have a warm fire. Warm for a long time. Same thing with a big round fire. You have it next to it to keep it warm. You keep it warm forever. You're not lighting up fire, you're not starting. You put some big backlogs on it, it won't burn. So me myself, 2016 when I came to the truth up until about morning when we met a brother named Troy. They came in with warm food one day. And this is the first time I ever get warm food 7 days since I came to the truth. They had Swedish meatballs and never broke. If it wasn't for that, I would never have eaten warm food like Saturday. Swedish meatballs and it broke. That broke. Swedish meatballs.
When you say that, hold on. You say that, you mean like that was the one and only time that you ate warm food, or like from that time
started.
You've been so that's what like started the process.
That was the process.
I just want to.
It's just like the first when I first lost weight from 300 pounds to 240. I was doing good till the McRib came out. And I didn't want it to be so good. I hit another one. And then I went to 285. Now I'm back at 245. Ain't no more McRib, so focused on my life. So I mean, bad things were trying to do things. No bad training. So about 80%. Yeah, about 80%. Not eating warm food. 20% you can't warm your food. And too many people want to take it as a fire.
So again, my question was, do you, or from everyone's opinion, when they were in the wilderness and it was cold, like freezing temperatures, where do you think they were eating on Sabbath?
Cold, man.
Food that they prepared the day before.
Are you asking about the wilderness?
Well, I mean, that was a thought, even with just Sabbath day. Because, like I said, I know it gets cold, and they were outside at one point, or whatever the case is. But even during that time, when it was cold on Sabbath, what were they eating?
Hold on. If you're just talking about the wilderness.
No, I mean at any point, but that was just a thought.
Right, because it's gonna be different though.
Okay.
You're just talking about wilderness versus
Okay.
Because if you're just talking about wilderness, the answer to that is no. Because you just read that they were baking the manna and they were eating manna every day.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to bake the manna on the 6th day because you couldn't even find it on the 7th day to bake it in the first place. But if you already had a fire to, save from Friday night to, Saturday, they wouldn't even be doing it. Now, this would be a totally different discussion once you're now talking about living in civilization now, where you have abundance of, eating whatever you want to eat, and then, making a fire like that. Like that's really where you want to stay at with your question. The answer to your question straight up off the bat would just be no, because they couldn't do that anyway. And you mentioned the fire. You brought up the Numbers 15, how the man was put to death for gathering sticks. You can have a fire, but your fire still needs fuel to keep going.
Right.
If you gathering sticks on the Sabbath like this man, the
purpose of adding fuel to your fire, like to me, that's a clear indication that that's an absolute no.
Right.
In a wilderness perspective, like
Mhm.
just we speaking from a wilderness perspective. If you're talking about that's where like your question gets to be more relevant in terms of issue with saving food and heating it up and putting it on all that stuff is still at play, but at the same time, because you're in a civilized setting, you have more conveniences that are available to you that you wouldn't have anywhere.
Okay, so it,
It don't matter.
From the day before. She's not gathering wood on the Sabbath. She already has. It's just burn. No, she's saying that she's keeping a fire burning from the day before.
yeah, through
And then
Saturday.
she's adding wood to a fire that's already burning.
Right.
She's saying.
Fire will literally last about a week if you do it right. Like you put some big bag on, that means like this, like that long.
Well, what if it's summertime and there is no fire at all? We come and eat. We tell like, if it's a fire already going because we want to be warm, that's one thing. What if it's July? And ain't no fire.
I still
What
feel,
can I do on Saturday?
I still, well, my, okay, so,
I mean, you out here. Oh.
well, my,
I want to get it off. So
She was talking.
okay, so the point with that, let's forget about the cold, okay? So if it was just a summer day or whatever day, it's, to me, it still says, he's basically saying I need to prep, because that's what Friday's for. I'm prepping and cooking all of my food on Friday. Yeah, we have microwaves and all this stuff today. But if you go in there today, like today, if you go home and say, okay, I got a microwave, and you stick a raw steak in there or something raw, that's cooking. But if I cook this steak the day prior, on the stove and oven or whatever, in a microwave, because I don't have a microwave, but that's the difference to me. If I'm cooking something, if you've already prepared it and actually cooked it that Friday, then it's cooked. But if you try to get up on Saturday and say, oh, I got a microwave, this ain't a fire, so I could, and this meat is completely raw, that's not doable. Like that's not the same. That's not something you should be doing. Meaning you're not honoring the Sabbath because you didn't cook that prior to today. You're now, if it was cooked Friday and it's cold and I want to warm it, that's okay to me because that's not me cooking. That's just me warming food that I prepared the day before. Okay.
In essence, saying you could do the same thing with both of these pieces of steak and throw them in the microwave, but because you cooked one Friday, that makes it okay in essence.
Because that's what he said. Prepare your food. Yeah.
What she's saying is basically there's a difference between cooking and heating. Like there is cooking where there's like a physical chemical change that's happening, and then there's heating up where it's already the chemical change happening, which I disagree with you, but that's basically what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Right? But then I ask people, do they know how a microwave works? Because a microwave, it is harmful. Like how a microwave works is that it harnesses microwave radiation, and then it heats up the water inside of the food, which means there is some type of chemical change happening in order for to heat up your food. So that's the same thing, and I ask this question when it comes to rice, right? If I was to, let's just say I was trying to heat up my rice. It's already cooked, already boiled and everything, right? Already seethed, as it says right there. And then I just wanted to heat it up. Now I didn't have a microwave, but I have an electric stove. If I throw it on the skillet to heat it up, is that cooking it? Rice. He basically just asking you the same thing that you just asked, but instead of using a microwave, I'm warming it up on an electric stove.
Yeah, because I guess my point is, I guess I should take the whole food cooking part out. The point is, you're doing work, and that's what I'm. That's what I'm.
But how are you doing work if you stick a steak in a microwave and just turn it on?
Because I know that
You
I
season
know
that steak,
that
you
I didn't
prepare
cook
it.
this steak the day before. I know this. I didn't prepare the steak that Friday. So I'm trying to do it on Saturday. That's like I know this versus, like that's work. You gotta season it. Yeah, like you're doing work that you know you're supposed to do the day before.
What's your
I don't know.
science?
Listen, I'm not saying that either way is wrong or right now. I'm really just like, you're gonna have a hard time trying to convince a person in the world that me sticking my meat in the microwave and having to prep the day before, it's like I have a hard time seeing how that will make sense to somebody who doesn't know any of this. It's just like, because you're doing the same thing. Like,
I mean, I get it, but like I said, I mean, that you're trying to get over. Because again, you're saying, oh, well, if I get some mini rice, I could go and stick that in the microwave, and that's not me cooking. But in essence, you were supposed to prepare whatever you were going to eat on Sabbath that day before. So that's my mind frame. I'm going to make sure I prepare whatever it is I want to eat that day before. And then, but the whole, like I say, that whole minute, I don't know. That's why I say I'm going to get off the food part, because the whole mini rice thing, like I'm preparing whatever I'm going to eat the day before Sabbath. And then Sabbath, I'm going to either decide to warm it or not warm it. It's just, preference.
And what's that decision?
And so right now,
Yeah, if you prepared it as you were supposed to, then here it is noon and it's cold. What you
I mean, like I say, for me,
on the Saturday.
it's preference. If it's something that I cooked and prepared the day before and I don't want it cold for Sabbath, I'll possibly warm it.
In the microwave.
I don't have a microwave, so
At all?
no. But that's,
Okay,
but
so the key word is prepare, right? So we prepare the food the day before. It doesn't say what to prepare. It doesn't say fix a sandwich, eat a salad. It says prepare the food and kindle your fire that Friday. So if the word is telling us to prepare for a Sabbath, then I mean, God is not that type of person. I'm just trying. I can't get in the mind of God, but I don't think He would tell us to prepare something and then eat it cold. And then my other question is, okay, in today's technology, let's bring it down to today. When it says we shall not kindle a fire, what does that mean today with all the technology that we have? Because me personally, I was just telling Sister Nuna, I have I don't use microwaves either, but I have this thing called a hot logic, and it's a plate in there with the little the silver stuff, and you plug it in the wall, get your food up. Yeah. So my question is, when we say don't kindle a fire on Sabbath, what does that look like today?
work. That means work.
okay, so let's just let's just you want to add something to that?
Just like she okay. And I guess it could be the same way. The same way it would be. Say for instance, I got central unit, but if my central unit go out and I got a gas stove, I can't turn that gas stove on to keep warm.
Absolutely you can.
That's what I do.
Absolutely you can. That's not work.
No, I just turn the stove on to keep my house. My central unit is not wrong definition.
Can you please go to that verse right quick in Exodus 35 and yeah, highlight. It's 2 and 3. It's 2 and 3. 2 and 3. I'm about to get to it. All right, yeah, that.
You're sitting there baking, and you're seeing it in the microwave to heat the molecules in.
That's fine. You started with. Come on, take control, man. Take control.
Everybody gonna read. Everybody gonna read. All right, read what? Seven regulations.
Exodus 35, verse 1. Exodus 35, verse 1.
1 through 3. 1 through 3.
And you see, people, this is why we needed the Sanhedrin, or the group of men.
Exodus chapter 35, starting at verse 1. And Moses gathered all the congregation of the children of Israel together and said unto them, these are the words which the Lord hath commanded that ye should do them. 6 days shall work be done, but on the 7th day there shall be to you a holy day, a Sabbath of rest to the Lord. Whosoever do a work therein shall be put to death. Ye shall kindle no fire throughout your habitations upon the Sabbath day.
Okay. So right here, this is the thing. All right. Brother Carmen mentioned earlier when we were talking about the Talmud about man's interpretation. Okay. And that's really what everybody basically in this room will be given when they sit here and read this verse and try to explain what it means. Okay. Ultimately, if you're not having a Bible verse that makes what you're saying relevant, it's an opinion. And therefore, it's really a take it or leave it thing. And most of the time we should leave it. Now if you want to get technical, okay, this verse tells you if you kindle a fire throughout your habitations, it's telling you not to do that. So technically speaking, if you kindle a fire, like we know this is not something that's disputable. If you kindle a fire throughout your habitation on the Sabbath, that is technically a sin according to this verse. Well, it's what? Hold on. When you say it sends you, the Bible does not send you anywhere. What that is that is a reference point that a person did that. That's what I'm saying. A person is doing that. So we don't like. There's many reasons you could kindle a fire. It's not just for cooking. So when this person is citing that source and bringing you to what it said, Exodus 23, Exodus 16 and 23, exactly. So if it references that, that doesn't mean that that's what this is talking about here. It just means that you can use that as a point of reference to see, well, why is he saying this? But that doesn't give you a reason. Okay. The real problem here is the fact that there is a lack of elaboration on this law. So you have to go to other verses to try to come up with something. And that's what we have done. Most of us were taught that you're not supposed to cook or heat up things on the Sabbath day. Those are interpretations. Okay. I do need to make that clear that those are interpretations. And the way you interpret this verse is going to dictate what you do on the Sabbath day. There are people who literally go to their house generators and shut everything off, literally on the Sabbath. I promise you, there are people who do this because they make the argument, well, because if you extrapolate that out, like Sister Yafa is saying, and you make it like, well, if you heat up anything, whatever causes heat, you have to shut off, period. That means you can't drive your car. That means you can't have lights on. You can't have the phone to record, all right, because the phone is getting hot with usage. You can't really do anything because all of these components have some type of carbon dating issue where it causes heat. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you had something? Yeah.
Can I sit my food outside?
The answer to, listen, you asking questions that a man cannot answer. That's what I'm basically trying to tell you guys. These are interpretation issues. Okay? Really, what everyone in this room would have to do is you would have to go and read up on all the Sabbath day laws. You can precept it with Exodus 23. And if you come to the conclusion that you're not going to cook anything on the Sabbath, it's no problem. Whatever you come with, that's really what you end up doing. Because now, like what Sister Nama said, in her heart, if she prepares a steak the day before and then warms it up later, that's fine. Me personally, if I heat a steak up in the microwave and I just put 5 minutes instead of 1 and it cooks, I don't see the difference in that. Now, I wouldn't do it anyway because that's just me, but there is no right or wrong answer to this. This is the point. Like every one of us in here are going off of interpretation. And most of us have been taught not to cook at all because most brothers, when they're coming up with doctrines and they teaching it to people, they just go with the least resistant one, which is, okay, well, just don't cook nothing. All right. We don't have to get into all the particulars and all that. just don't do nothing. Just don't cook nothing. Don't heat up nothing. Don't use your microwave. And then you'll have a person who is a little bit more like thinking ahead. Like, okay, well, if you can't use a microwave, then you can't use lights. You can't use this. You can't use that. But they're not willing to go that far. Okay, so that's really what all of this comes down to.
Right. And if I can build off of that too. So like, and that was the whole, and that actually connects back to what we was talking about in the Mishnah, why the Mishnah was created, because of what just happened. There was a bunch of men who will be the judges to figure out what this law would be or how that would be planned out. If you guys do want to follow the Mishnah, there is Mishnah Sabbath chapter 7 that talks about the rules about the Sabbath. You can go by what they said or what Jeff just said, go by your own interpretation. Me personally, I'm on the same line of what Zeph is saying, right? And that's basically how those things come about. And that's the reason of why people use the Mishnah and other things. If you look at what the Caucasian Jews are doing, that's literally what they do on the Shabbat day. They don't do anything. They can't open up doors. They can't drive. They can't use the heat. They don't have the lights on, all that type of stuff. If you're looking at them boys over there when they're actually trying to keep the Sabbath day because of what the sister over there, I forgot your name. Naomi. Oh, Naomi. That's because of what Sister Naomi said. So all of those things come into play. So
No, so let me just make sure. Let me just make sure it's clear. Let me just make sure it's clear. All right. It's fine. Listen, it's no problem. It's not a mess up. This is not a mess up. Yeah, this is. Yeah. Yeah, this is not a mess up. Exactly. What I'm basically telling you, Sister Nama, is the way you have decided to apply this law in your life. Okay, this is you trying to keep this law. That's a righteous action. Okay, what I'm basically saying is because it's an interpretation, your answer just now could make sense to you, but it couldn't make sense to somebody else. Like I'm saying, it doesn't make sense to me. Okay, because to me, there is no difference. If you prepare something on a Friday night and then heat it up again, or heat it up because it got cold on a Saturday versus throwing something in the microwave, take seasoning out of. I mean, all that's like little nuance, little extra stuff that really doesn't matter. The point is, if I cook something Friday night and then I heat it up again Saturday versus just heating it up Saturday, I don't see that as a difference. You still heating it up. Both of them are still going into the microwave. You're really just pushing a button, and the result is the same. You get hot food. So, but that's a me thing. I'm not saying that that's the right thing. What I just said. I'm just saying that it's an opinion.
Yeah, I want to know y'all stance. And you said I agree with Zeph, but I don't know y'all stance. What do y'all do?
Me personally, I don't eat nothing hot on Saturday. Nothing. There's too many. This is how I was taught. Okay, I was taught that cooking, like I just mentioned, most brothers when they teach this, it's just the path of least resistance. So these guys have these same conversations, okay? And what they just determine is let's just end it all. No cooking, okay? No cooking. But then that's a contradiction if you talk about heating anything else up, like we just talked about. And like I said, there are some people who they will go to the little panel in their house, right? And they will shut everything off on a Saturday. I'm pretty sure most Hebrew Israelites don't do that. But the point is, there are people who, from their understanding of the verse and through the application that you can make with anything that gets hot, they just turn everything off. They do like what he said the Jewish people do. Me personally, I was taught not to cook on the Sabbath, and I just been doing that for the longest. And the way I see it is this: there's too many things that are like it's possible to eat cold that it's really been a non-issue for me. Like I don't make it a big deal. But if somebody, like he said, if somebody prepared something, what you said, Swedish meatballs or something, and like I'm not looking at that as like, oh yeah, this brother just committed a sin. Like I'm not looking at it like that because of the fact of what I just mentioned. You have it's not clear on the ins and outs, and that's exactly why Brother Uzziah just mentioned we had a Sanhedrin where basically elders, men who are learned in the law, they established whatever it was, and then everybody just had to do it. Okay, Whereas now we're in all these different organizations and groups, and each organization is doing it based off of how they see fit. And because we here don't have a system, each individual in this room would be operating in that same way, like the groups do. However you read this verse, okay, and whatever whatever convicts you as work or not work, that's just what it is.
And I guess that's the point I focus on. And that's what I gravitate toward. That's the whole point of the whole cooking. Not cooking. Warming up food that I cooked on the 6th day.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I get it, you have people that's gonna try to get around that with this whole minute rights thing and all. I mean, I don't know. That's just, to me, in my mind, that's just a way of getting around. You didn't prepare your food the day before. I don't know. Yeah, it's basically, I'm focused on this is a day of rest. I've done my work 6 days. I prepared my food. And I don't do it all the time. I mean, there are times where, I eat whole, eat whole food all the time on Saturday. Stuff that have to be prepared. But,
Right.
If there's something I've cooked, like I stood over the stove and cooked the day before, then I see it as a form of work if I'm cooking it on Saturday. So that's just my.
Y'all eat warm Swedish meat.
No. Sister,
Get him first.
who?
But we talking about cooking, but the fire was kindled to keep warm too. You know what I'm saying? Cooking wasn't the only thing they did. Was, they used the same. They had to kindle the fire to keep warm. So and I agree with the sister in my opinion. Like I said, it is opinionated no matter how each person look at it. But if you make a sandwich, you work. To me, it could be a cold sandwich. You didn't prepare that sandwich on Friday. You go in your refrigerator and make a sandwich. You work. To me, you know what I'm saying. So I'm not gonna eat if my food is prepared Friday, man, and I got a microwave. I'm gonna heat my food up. It's prepared. The work. I'm not working to heat my food up. You know what I'm saying? Which I don't think they ate cold food when they was in the wilderness. I really don't think that.
But they only ate manna anyways.
You know what I'm saying? So, just like you say that, like Rick say, a fire, man. We start fires all the time in the backyard. A fire will kindle itself for 4 days. A fire could get rained on and still be hot if it's hot enough. As long as I don't go out there and put more sticks. That man got killed because he would got sticks to add on to that fire, to kindle that fire, to keep it going. But if that fire is already kindling itself, and I stick my food on that fire, you know what I'm saying? I'm right here keeping warm by that same fire. Me personally, I don't see a problem with it, but that's opinionated. You know what I'm saying? But I just know it was more to kindle the fire than just cooking. You know what I'm saying? It was all.
Hey, what the Michelin say about this matter?
Okay, I have a question. Okay. We remember the story with, I think it was Isaiah, where he challenged the other gods to bring fire onto the wood. Elijah. Okay. Was that on the Sabbath?
Hold on. It doesn't matter if it was on the Sabbath or not. And let me tell you why it don't matter.
Why?
Because in Numbers 28, there are offerings and sacrifices that must be given every day and every Sabbath. So the priests, this law in Exodus chapter 35 is not relevant to them, the priests who are commanded also to give offerings, which necessitates fire. So if Elijah is giving an offering or a sacrifice, and this is a way to show who's God and who's not, it will be irrelevant if it was the Sabbath day or not because of that fact.
With a regular person.
Yeah,
Well,
because
he wasn't a regular stature.
No, it's not that the law does not apply to him. It's the fact is, there are other laws that tell you you must give a sacrifice every morning and every evening, whether it's the Sabbath or not. So that law in Numbers 28, in verse 1, that law is telling you you give a lamb every morning, you give a lamb every evening. It don't matter if it's the Sabbath or not. And then they have a Sabbath day offering too. So on the Sabbath day, you give your morning and evening lamb, and then you give your Sabbath sacrifice. So you have to, you have to, you know, start to
So
find
they
out.
found
So the
those was
priest eat,
already
priest
sorted
eat the
days
one meat.
before.
Now,
Correct.
they and you see that in Matthew, like Matthew 12, verse 5, that goes into have you not read in the law how the Sabbath, the priests in the temple profane the Sabbath and are guiltless? So they was out there literally work. That was their whole profession, to work nonstop throughout all of the week, doing sacrifices and offerings. So to go to his point, yeah, it kind of doesn't matter in reference to doing sacrifices.
I was just asking because it came on my mind.
No, you're good, man. We're not shooting no guns at you.
I know, but I was just asking.
Yeah, but that's a good question, though. That's why you have to mention it.
So basically, wherever your opinion stands.
So it's the
I
matters
think
of
we
your
all
heart.
agree we shouldn't pull out pots and pans and
Yeah.
get live. You know what I mean? Yeah, no onion powder, garlic powder, season salt, spoons, you know, don't go in there, whole chef bar, and all that. But if you make the sandwich and roll with them, you still make the burger.
Oh, you talking about?
Say something about cooking on.
Yeah, the Mishnah does say something about cooking on the Sabbath.
Well, hold on, before you get that.
Oh, I just had it was just a thought. I heard you say people shut down stuff or we don't use particular stuff on Sabbath. So we know that Kindle means to start, which means in order to start it, you're working. If these things are already going in your house, you didn't start it. So I mean, what's the significance of them turning it off?
This is what I'm saying.
Like you're not working. You didn't work to do it.
But that question is not a question that can be answered with the Bible.
Yeah.
It's just
So
like
it's-
you mentioning the 2 microwave examples.
Yeah.
Your response is not an answer biblically.
Okay.
Although in your mind that convicts you and that means that you're not taking it seriously. Right? I get you. They would have other people who do Sabbath like that.
Yeah.
Who would say you having your lights on and using your car and having a whole bunch of different things that make heat. They would be saying that you're not taking it seriously. Because the application, like you said, it says kind of like that's your argument. To them, the fact that the fire is even going is the issue.
So they'll put a fire out on Sabbath.
They doing too much. Cause we ain't about to walk to the library.
Well, they
So
Town.
basically, it's the matters of your heart. It's what moves you. If you're saying you're following him and you're not convicted by doing something, or feeling guilty about doing something that you're not sure should do or not do, then you shouldn't keep beating yourself up.
Well, I want us to keep in mind, because that's correct, yes. But I would just want you to keep in mind that the reason that we in this position in the first place is because let's say we knew and the Most High told us exactly what to do, we still would have did it, and that's why we're here right now. So let's keep all this in perspective. He gave them whatever he gave them. When they saw him in Mount Sinai, they didn't do it. And now we're here discussing about, well, how do we do it right?
But isn't that the point?
What?
Those laws, like that law to me, at times, you say, don't use no microwave, don't like have that. So you know what I'm saying? Like potatoes too, that
But he
Exactly.
knew it was coming.
Hold on. That's right. That's right. But here's the thing. You can extrapolate out anything, right? So it's just like we talking about a microwave. This verse has nothing to do with a microwave. That's you extrapolating out that in order for you to cook, you have to heat something up. Well, how do we heat things up today? We heat things up through pots and pans. We heat things up through fryers. We heat things up through microwaves. So if they couldn't heat things up, if you reading it like that, then your mind extrapolating that verse out is saying you can't heat up anything regardless of what method you use. That's the point. So all of these laws you can say are archaic or like old timey, but they do have an application that one could make. And that's really the interpretation issue part of it. This is what I'm saying. There is no right or wrong answer to a lot of you guys' questions because it's based in opinions anyway. Like you might be thinking that they doing too much by turning the panel off. They thinking that that's the right thing to do, and vice versa.
Okay, now, the question I would say, okay, like,
Hold on, sis. Please don't forget your question. She asked about the Mishnah, right?
Yeah,
You
so
wanted to know
I was
that?
asking what the Mishnah says. Yeah, so I got you. So like this is Mishnah Sabbat verse chapter 7 verse
Were you
2.
about to read all of it?
No, I'm not really. I'm gonna stop at bakes. That's what I'm gonna stop at. So it says the fundamental Mishnah enumerates those who perform the primary categories of labor prohibited on the Sabbath, which number 40 less one. They are grouped. I'm just gonna skip that part. One who sows, one who plows, one who reaps, one who gathers, one who threshes, one who winnows, one who selects, one who grinds, one who shifts, one who kneads, and one who bakes.
Nothing. What that just baby told you is nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Work. It just said work to me.
Hold on, time out. Hold on. Wait, stop.
I just
Wait. If you think that that's work, when Christ and the disciples went out into the corn, this just said
one
no
who gathers.
reaping.
No
That's
reaping.
reaping what they did. Okay? And Christ basically told them that's fine. Because he references David when he went to and ate the shewbread, which the shewbread is bread that is baked, okay, on the Sabbath day. Only on the Sabbath day it's baked. So again, this is why I'm saying all these things like that is literally just like another person in here saying you shouldn't reap, you shouldn't sow, you shouldn't do this, you should. That doesn't make them an authority, right?
Right.
So it's just another interpretation. They just have it. It's formally written in a book.
I was just saying the difference, you don't hold it fire, we know that. But when it come down to a person saying they preparing it, you shouldn't be doing no preparation at all. So say, for instance, you say you're not eating anything warm, but do you make your sandwich on the Sabbath or you make them the day before?
No, everything. So like I don't even eat sandwiches on the Sabbath. Usually I have
Salad.
cereal or something like that.
But if you saying you still, it's like you gotta pour it in the box, you gotta put the milk in the bowl. So it's like is you. So I'm saying, is that still considered work?
No, I don't. Me personally, be doing this. If that's work, then you would have to say that many.
Because I'm saying everything we eat should be prepared the day before. You see what I'm saying? So. Right on the guy.
Oh, I was just saying, like a jug of milk is a heavy burden.
You gotta have some soggy cereal. You gotta put that milk in that bowl the day before.
Oh my God, bro! No. Soggy cereal on the Sabbath.
In a bag. So I'm gonna put my spinach leaves in a bowl, put my avocado in there. I ain't kindling no fire, but I still gotta do the work. So I'm gonna start making my salad the day before. It's like and then I'm gonna put the avocado. Well, I can't put the avocado on there because it's gonna go to bed. It's gonna go bad.
Yes, you can. If you just put olive oil on it, that's a good salad dressing right there. Olive oil. Keep it real nice.
Hey.
With a sister that I know. So I was like, and then my personal thoughts on that is that I see, because what I do is I look at the definitions of words, and so I just be like, cooking is like, because I'll be like in that same meat example, there's a such thing as like say if I have a steak, it's raw at first. Now you're saying like just heating it up just a little bit. I just throw it on a pan, and then I have it for like 5 seconds on one side, 5 seconds on another side. Is that cooking?
It's wrong.
It's but you're doing it on Saturday. Okay, so what is the difference if I already heated it up or already cooked it, and then now I'm just putting it on the skillet again? I put it, leave for 5 seconds on one side and 5 seconds on another side.
The difference is you're not supposed to eat blood.
Well, it's not blood. That's more so. It's more that red stuff is more so like protein stuff. But Oh, go ahead.
I know, but we're not supposed to eat the blood.
We're not supposed to eat the blood, but like I'm talking about like in the meat that's actually in it. Like you know how people eat like a rare steak and it's still red. That's not actual blood. That's like hemoglobin, which is like a protein. It's not actual blood. But like, go ahead. I'm sorry. Uh-huh. Mm. Well, but that's what I'm asking. Like, how is it? How is that different? Say if we, would you say if we did it like this on the Friday evening or like Friday before, you do no seasoning, no anything. Huh? Oh, my bad, my bad.
I had a question. So we talking about working and cooking. So why do we have to wait till after sundown to go eat at a restaurant that we're not cooking or working?
Because you're buying stuff.
Why? Why, Rick?
He said, why, Rick?
I'm not happy here.
I think it's all about multitude of evil. Some people are working.
After we close out, I have an announcement.
I have an announcement to make.
All praise to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Sabbath. I continue to pour out your spirit on everyone in this room. Constantly seek you, serve you, sincerely wholeheartedly, protect us back to our homes. Constantly remind us why we need to serve you. Praise Amen.
All right. The announcement is.
You my little brother.
The announcement is.
Announcement. What's your announcement, brother?
I have an announcement to give that I was given. I have to give an announcement. And this is the announcement. Passover comes so far right now. April 1st is going to be Passover. So we need to start getting our money together. Those that going to put in for the first feast day. Passover. And then after that, the rest of the feast come along. And whoever wants to talk about a menu or put in on the menu, get with the we have sisters. Can I say sisters? We have sisters to get with the menu.
All right. That's it.
I know we're gonna roast each other.